I'm Mary Karr.
And I'm Christopher Robinson.
And this is Poetry Fix.
Today we have William Matthews.
Cheap Seats, the Cincinnati Gardens, Professional Basketball, 1959.
And this poem is a Petrarchan sonnet, right?
Different from an Elizabethan sonnet, 8 lines then 6. So this is a Petrarchan sonnet, which has 8 lines, an octet, and 6 lines, a sestet. And right before, there's this little break called a volta, where you kind of vault or pole vault from the 8 to the 6. And you're supposed to have here a turn or a kind of change in attitude. Cheap Seats, the Cincinnati Gardens, Professional Basketball, 1959. The less we paid, the more we climbed. Tendrils of smoke blazed just as high and hung there, blue particulate, the opposite of dew. We saw the whole court from up there. Few girls had come, few wives, numerous boys in molt like me. Our heroes leapt and surged and looped, and 2 nights out of 3 like us, they'd lose. But like us is wrong. We had no result 3 nights out of 3. So we had heroes. And we is wrong, for I knew none by name among that hazy company unless I brought her with me. This was loneliness with noise, unlike the kind I had at home, with no clock running down and mirrors. Haunting, right? How it starts out being a poem about a bunch of guys going to a basketball game and becomes a poem about the misery of marriage, right? No?
I really like the way his rhymes are operating here. It doesn't sound very sing-songy. You know, a lot of these rhymes are half or slang.
They're half rhymes, like tendrils and girls, right?
You have blue and dew, things like that. But I think a great rhyme is something like molt and result.
Right.
Which doesn't really jump out at you, but when you see it on the page, is very striking, I think.
So you think these rhymes would work on you if you didn't know you were there, or are you an idiot because you don't notice them when you read the poem? What does it mean that it's Petrarch? Who cares if it's a Petrarchan sonnet? We care because we're nerdy poets. It's a Petrarchan sonnet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's a reason why the sonnet has been such a popular form in English poetry since its inception. And I think it has to do with the pacing and the unit of containment, how much idea and how much image can fit into 14 lines. 14 lines.
So this first 8 lines is a lot about these guys looking down on the court, watching their heroes leap and surge and loot. And 3 nights out of 3, like us, they'd lose.
Right.
But like us is wrong. We had no result. And that's the volta, or turn, where he starts essentially correcting almost everything he said before. Like us is wrong. We had no result. You know, they're not even in the game 3 nights out of 3. So we have heroes. We have people who play for us. And we is wrong, for I knew none by name. You know, at first you think he's going with his posse or something, right? And then you realize it's just him, sadly, you know, going there, unless I brought her with me. And her is, you know, some wife or girlfriend long time. This was loneliness with noise, unlike the kind I had at home, with no clock running down and mirrors.
And mirrors is really...
Isn't that smart?
Yeah.
Why? What does it mean if you have loneliness that's awful, you know, that doesn't have any noise in it, it's quiet, and there's no clock running down? What does it mean there's no clock running down?
Well, I mean, literally, there's no basketball shot clock, right?
Well,
meaning there's...
Well, it's not that there's no shot clock.
It's endless.
But the game never ends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's marriage, right? It goes for
well, and you can see yourself. You know, you don't have a spectacle to distract you.
Right.
It's just,
you have to actually look at
there.
yourself.
Yeah.
Ugh, sad poem. William Matthews, smart guy. Mary Karr.
Christopher Robinson.
Poetry Fix.